Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and today I am joined with my friend Cody, who is down below me on the screen. Obviously, we're at the bottom right of the screen. Today, we are doing a Seattle Seahawks 7-round mock draft that includes trades if we ever decide to make a trade. So welcome into Cody. This is his first video on my channel. I will assume he will be back eventually. When that is, who knows, but he should be back. So like I said, we're doing a 7-round mock draft for the Seattle Seahawks here. We are on the draftnetwork.com. They don't sponsor me. I'll just say their name once. So we're going to get right into it here. So right at the beginning, obviously the draft is going to be paused. So do you want to make any moves before we start, Cody, or are we good to just sim to our pick?
I think we're just good to sim to our pick right now.
Okay, so the Seattle Seahawks have, in the first round, they have one pick at pick 27. They have two picks in the second round, 59 and 64. In the third round, they have pick 101. In the fourth round, 133 and 144. And then they have a pick in the sixth round, 214. So they have 7 total picks unless we make any moves. So we are just going to sim right to our pick. If anything shows up here that you think is very weird, like the fact that Chason got drafted to the Giants at 4, we can go ahead and talk about it. But we are coming up here shortly onto our pick at number 27. So right now, nothing is looking too weird besides the fact that Chason got drafted at pick 4. I don't know what they were doing there.
I think Ruggs went to Oakland first.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Ruggs went to the Raiders, first wide receiver off the board. So now we are up. The Seattle Seahawks are up right before us. Cesar Ruiz got picked, as well as Gross Matos, Kenneth Murray, Denzel Mims, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Queen. So what are we looking at here at pick 27?
Well, I see a big time, probably a top 10 player in DAVION Kinlaw sitting on the board right there, and I think that's the pick right there. He's a guy that can play inside and outside, and realistically, he's probably the second best defensive tackle on the draft board behind Derek Brown. I think Kinlaw's going to be a stud.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Now, I just find it weird we are going to pick him. I just find it very weird that Justin Herbert fell to pick 27, if I'm being completely honest with you. But we will go with Javon Kinlaw here at pick number 27. That is a great pick for them. Obviously, a position that they need. So after that, we are going to be waiting a bit to make our next pick in the second round. So would you be looking for anyone else besides Kinlaw who we picked there, or would you?
At first, I was thinking Matos, just because Clowney is. I thought Clowney would come back on a 1-year deal, but from the reports, it sounds like he wants more money, and just Seattle just doesn't have that. They picked up Mayo and Irvin as situational pass rushers, but I just think the edge rush is such a big need that, Seattle normally doesn't take they usually trade down a lot of times. I think the first time or the last time they took a guy in the first round was in 2011 with James Carpenter. But I just think there's just too big of a need at edge rush where they can, fool around and trade down and then miss a guy that can be a huge impact right away.
Oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine there. So number 34, the Indianapolis Colts went with Justin Herbert. Now, if Justin Herbert falls all the way to the 34th pick, and as a Dolphins fan, if we don't pick him, I'd probably shoot myself. So now we are back up at pick 59. Now, what position are you looking to fill here?
I think right now tackle is probably a big need just because of loss to Fetty and Brandon Shaw, who we got from the Jets. I think is a guy that he's just kind of he's not a future guy, but he's just kind of a bridge type of guy for now. So at tackle, I think would be the biggest need.
We're looking O tackle or D tackle? O tackle.
O tackle.
Okay, so at O tackle, these are the guys that are available, and then we can look at interior offensive line if you want as well.
Yeah, let's look at interior offensive line.
Okay.
Hunt is there. Yep. Okay, so Robert Hunt's there. Robert Hunt's the pick right there. From the research that I've done, he's almost like a DJ Fluker type. So very, he's kind of a run or a run blocking guy, and he's a big dude too. I think how big is? He's a
6'5", 336.
6'5", 336. So he's built a lot like DJ Fluker, in my opinion, and I think he's basically like a replica to Fluker. So I think to have him inside next to Fluker would be a huge improvement to this offensive line that Seattle needs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Seattle runs the ball 1,000,000 times a game, so we need a guy that is very good in run blocking or run. I don't even know how you describe it, but blocking for the run Robert Hunt is the man here, so that is who we're going to go with. So I believe they have 2 picks in the second round. If my brain does not fool me, we do. We are back up at pick number 64. Now, right now, through our first 2 picks of the draft, we have Javon Kinlaw, interior defensive line out of South Carolina, and Robert Hunt, interior offensive lineman out of Louisiana. Now, Cody, where are we looking here at pick 64?
I think because of where they are at the running back position, Penny tore his ACL against the Rams late in the year in December, and then Carson dislocated his hip against Arizona in Week 16. I see Cam Akers on the board, and I think that's the perfect pick. Cam Akers, he's basically, I think he's the perfect type of style of running back for Seattle, just because he's just going to run right through you. And not to say that he has any comparisons to Marshawn Lynch, but that's the style that he plays with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's an amazing pick. I mean, who knows how much Pete Carroll buys into Chris Carson, if I'm being honest with you, because he seems to have a fumbling problem.
Too, so.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Akers is a perfect fit here. Do you think that Penny starts to play at the beginning of the year if it starts at the right time?
I mean, it'll probably help him, but I don't think he'll be back till maybe November or like late October. I just think it's like when you tear your ACL, you know, obviously the technology today is great, but when you tear it in December, unless you're Adrian Peterson, you're not going to be 100% until October, November, maybe even December.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Cam Akers, running back out of Florida State, is going to be the selection here. To the people who are the fantasy football crowd as well, because some people are going to be here, NFL draft crowd, fantasy crowd. Cam Akers is one of the best running backs in the rookie class. He's going to be amazing this year. And if he lands on Seattle, this guy's going to be an absolute stud. So I love Cam Akers here in the second round. So let me just pause the draft real quick to figure out when our next pick is. So we got one pick in the third round at pick 101. So we've got a decent amount of time before it is our pick, but obviously it sims pretty fast. So what are you liking about our draft so far? You feel like this is the best draft we can get?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Kinlaw dropped to 27 is a phenomenal value. And then I just, Seattle needs to fix up that offensive line. A lot of the guys that they picked up in free agency are just bridge guys. So to be able to get long-term options like a Robert Hunt and just the style that Seattle plays with their zone run scheme, I think that's a great fit.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So now the Seattle Seahawks are back with their second pick in the third round here. And what are we looking here, or the first pick in the third round, I should say, at 101? Where are you looking for Seattle?
I think tackle is probably one of the options. I think receivers also, but I don't know if they would go this early yet.
Okay, so we'll look at tackle real quick. Matthew Pert, Charles, any of these guys calling your name?
I like Jack Driscoll. Yeah,
Jack Driscoll.
Jack Driscoll. Yep. Okay. I like that part.
Okay, Jack Driscoll is, let's see how tall he is. He is 6'5", 294, so a real big boy over there coming out of Auburn. Is this the only – oh, you can go, sorry. You can go.
A big thing that I saw there is, he's an athlete, so that's something that, whether you play the guard or tackle position, something that Seattle really likes. And they picked up a guy – BJ Finney from Pittsburgh, who I think is the perfect stopgap right there. So if you were to take Driscoll there at that spot, I think that could be a possible just a depth move and bolster up that offensive line for sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They definitely need help on the offensive line. So going with a guy like Driscoll here at pick 101 is pretty good. So after we went with Driscoll, obviously the draft is going to keep simming. Let me just real quick check how many more picks we got. We still have 3 more picks left, pick 133, 144, and 214. So I'm not sure if Seattle's even going to look to be making any types of trades in this draft. I highly doubt they would move up in the first round. Like, we just didn't even move up at all, which is something I can completely see them doing.
Yeah, and if they're going to do anything, they're going to trade down into like the early second, I would think, and just get multiple picks. Maybe like if it was from Miami or Cincinnati, if they take Burrow, Tua, or Herbert to get offensive options like any receivers, because it's such a wide receiver heavy class.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now we are back up at pick number 133. So far, our picks, like I said, I'm just going to recap them every single time in case someone just skips into the video. Kinlaw, we've got Hunt, Cam Akers, and Jack Driscoll. So we filled 2 spots on the O-line. We got a nice running back and a good interior defensive lineman in Kinlaw. So where are we looking here at pick 133?
I would think right here, linebacker.
Okay.
To see if Taylor is available. Okay, Davion Taylor. I love this guy. This guy's he's a special teams guy right away, or he can play special teams right away. He's a guy that's gonna coverage
On the
wise,
field.
on the field. Coverage wise, it's gonna take him a while, just because of the people that he played in the Pac-12. But I think he's a guy on special teams that can be a big time part of that team with Barton and Burke Irvin from UW.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, going with all these good picks here for the Seattle Seahawks, I think we've done quite a good job here thus far. So we're going to go with Davion Taylor, linebacker out of Colorado, correct?
Yeah, yep. And another part is KJ Wright, who is getting up there in age. I think he's 31 right now. Another possible replacement. I know they took Cody Barton from Utah, but just to find replacements, especially later on in the draft, is huge.
I completely agree. So here we're going to go with Mr. Taylor here at pick 133. And then we pick just, again, 11 picks from now at pick 144. So the Seattle Seahawks have a decent amount of picks here in the fourth round, which is very good here to add some depth to an already pretty solid roster. Now, before we make our pick here, what are your predictions for the Seattle Seahawks coming up next season? Do you think they'll be playoff bound yet again, or do you think they'll have some woes?
Yeah, I think Pete Carroll and John Schneider, just the way they play, and the guys they have, they're never going to get a top tier free agent. They'll hit on the day 2, 3 guys in free agency, and they just find guys that fit their offense and defense, and especially in the offensive line. Like I said, getting guys like Shell and Abamwe, they're just they're stopgaps, but they're guys that can contribute right away if needed because they have that veteran experience.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree here. So now at pick number 144, the Seattle Seahawks are back up yet again on the clock. However they do this draft, obviously it's not in person, so I don't even get how it works. But at pick 144, where are you looking for your Seattle Seahawks?
We're going to look wide receiver here.
Wide receiver. All right, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so like I said, obviously we know that this is a very wide receiver heavy class, and a guy that I like a lot is LYNN Bowden from Kentucky. He was actually the nation's all-purpose
yards leader.
Yards leader, in the nation last year, and he has that ability to return kicks. He's very versatile, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Deebo Samuel, just because he's a guy that can be used on the jet sweeps, and he's just got a really good toughness about him, and I think he would fit perfectly in with what Seattle wants with competition every single day.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, real quick before we make this pick, obviously we're still going to pick him, but what do you think about Tyler Lockett? How much longer do you think that man will be alive for the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, Tyler Lockett. I know he had a bad injury. I think it was the thigh injury against the Niners, and then he broke his leg against Arizona, I believe. He's a guy, especially with how Seattle wants to run their offense. You put him in the slot, and he can create a lot of mismatches, and he has that great connection with Russell Wilson, which I think is it's pivotal. But I think he's just a guy that overall he's going to be able to play for. He'll probably have 2-3 more productive years, but you put him in the slot, kind of what Larry did with Arizona, and he'll still put up numbers just because of the connection he has with Russ, and obviously just how the NFL is with offense, receivers-wise, just spreading it out.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So right here, I pick 144. We're going with Bowden. Let me just check real quick. I think we'll have one more pick after this in the 6th round, pick 214. So we're going to have to buckle in here and wait for a while. But we're going to go with LYNN Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky. So as we look here, as the draft continues, is there any players that we haven't drafted yet that you feel like the Seattle Seahawks could have gotten that would have been a better addition to the team than anyone we have? Or do you feel like we've still continued to hit the nail right on?
I just think the biggest need is at tackle. I know there was a lot of need for like Niang from TCU. He's a possible fit there. Or I know Hunt was a really good fit. Austin Jackson was another guy. I just don't know Jackson. Like I think he's probably a 2nd-round pick. And with the 2 second-round picks that Seattle has, they might get him with that. It's just kind of dependent on where they view him long term, because Dwayne Brown is going to be 35 at the start of the year. whether they want to get an impact player right away or if they want to go look for the future, which would be Jackson, kind of more of a development guy.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, we are coming up here on our final pick of the draft at pick 214. Obviously, this is the 6th round. There's one more round, but Seattle magically just does not have a pick in that round. So right now, our roster, or not our roster, I guess, just the guys we've drafted. We have Kinlaw, Robert Hunt, Cam Akers, Jack Driscoll, Davion Taylor, linebacker out of Colorado, and Lynn Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky. So what position would you like to fill here for the Seattle Seahawks, or which positions are we looking at here?
I would look at corner right now because they have Griffin, Flowers, and Dunbar, and getting a 4th guy I think would be huge in this spot. I like Miles Bryant a lot.
Okay.
From UW. I like him. Also, another thing that hasn't really been talked about a lot is the fact that Seattle doesn't have a backup quarterback yet. And I don't know if McDonald is on the board yet for out of Hawaii, but he's in that run and shoot offense that he ran with Rolovich, who's the coach for Wazoo now. It would be the perfect fit. So actually, I would actually prefer them to go with McDonald just because, like I said, it's kind of the same style as Russell Wilson, and he has that big arm ability. And just right now, because of the market, I don't know. I know Geno Smith was the backup quarterback, and they haven't re-signed him. So if they want to go young with a guy and compete in preseason, if there is going to be a preseason, I think McDonald would be the pick because I know a couple of years ago they took I can't think of his name, but they took a quarterback a few years ago. They battled it out with a backup or with a veteran quarterback.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, how much longer do you think Russell Wilson's going to be playing for? Currently, he is 31 years old, and he will turn 32 during the season.
Yeah, I know he said I think he's wanted to play until he's like 45. Just the way he attacks his off season, and just the way he's able to rehab after any games of some sort. He's the leader of the Seahawks, and realistically, he can probably play till he's 40.
Okay,
it's all dependent. I mean, Seattle's honest; they've never protected him, and I know the mobility is going to be gone after whether that's when he's 35, 36, 37, or maybe he's like Fran Tarkenton and just running around all the time. So I just think he's a special talent. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's the heartbeat for the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So we're going to go with Cole McDonald here.
Yep.
Okay, Cole McDonald out of the University of Hawaii here is going to be our final pick for the draft, but obviously the draft's going to keep on simming, and we can just wait for it to end, and then we'll look over our picks yet again. So do you feel like we had a successful draft today for the Seahawks?
Yeah, I definitely think we did. I think Kinlaw is an absolute steal. He's a stud, like we've already talked about. The only thing that I was kind of disappointed about was at corner. That's something that I think Seattle will address in the draft. And there's a guy, Michael Oshamade from Iowa. He's the perfect fit. He's a man-to-man guy, really physical, and he's actually really good in the run game. He'll go up and tackles, and that's exactly what Seattle likes. They like corners that will be in the box, kind of like what Chancellor was.
Last part, real quick, to recap our team. We got Javon Kinlaw, Robert Hunt, Cam Akers, Jack Driscoll, Davion Taylor, Lynn Bowden, Cole McDonald. So overall, we just talked about it. I think we had a very good draft for the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll will be very happy chewing his gum looking at this roster afterwards. So, Cody, would you like anyone to follow you anywhere before we leave, or do you got anything to say or anything?
Actually, I'll put this in. I'm a junior at Washington State University, 21 years old. I want to pursue being working for The Athletic, which is a social media, online, all sports journalism. That's what I want to do for my career. So I'm just looking forward to getting that opportunity and just continue to, be part of that sports journalism grind, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you guys go back and look at any of my videos, Cody writes a whole article down below in the comments about every single player. So I really appreciate that. So thank you to Cody for coming on. His Twitter is down below. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Cody will be back on probably within the next couple of weeks to make some more videos. He did a great job here for being his first videos. Thank you guys all for watching. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to have a great rest of your day, and goodbye. Oh, I didn't even think I ended it, but it's all good because I can just edit it.
Very good. Thanks, man.